So you are not an NPC, quick to forget and here only to sustain someone else's experience of reality slash the simulation, the Matrix. Welcome back, YouTube Collective. So glad to reconnect with y'all. Happy Leo season. So we're gonna be tapping into this Leo season energy, already getting these vibes of honoring the main character that you are, honoring, continuing to honor and invest in your own main character prioritization. Um, Let alone like this ongoing like commitment and consistency. I know these have been running themes this entire year that I have been channeling, especially. Yet, each season, each astrological influence that I happen to be aware of, whether very consciously or finding all the language around it without naming it directly, it's out there, it's what's happening, it's what's affecting many of us, if not all of us. It's kind of like how these different, like, I want to say these signs, these transits affect the manifestation and the practice of this theme of commitment and consistency. Now, that opening line I had in this video, essentially about you not being an NPC. So for some of you who don't maybe play video games, you may not be familiar with that. However, essentially you can think about in a video game where there are characters involved, there are, and we're talking about a video game where essentially the computer, like when you hear people say the computer, at least I'm of the generation we would say the computer, to represent basically any character in a video game that was not a live person. So that means either not the person using the console slash not another player seated by them and or another player online somewhere else in the world, in a shared server, a shared simulation. You are not an NPC. And especially I was guided before I went into this channel, you are not an NPC that's quick to forget. Now, that does not mean you do not practice and do your best with forgiveness and accountability, regarding and around the self, let alone with others. It doesn't mean you're an unforgiving person. It doesn't mean you are not compassionate, considerate, doing your best to practice, more compassion and grace, things of that nature. Like, none of us need to be perfect. Yet, I believe, and a lot of the people I resonate with, and if you've been rocking with me for a while, you likely resonate with this too, as far as your intentions and goals and how you want to like carry yourself in the world. It's like you legitimately want a more loving, graceful, compassionate, like merciful, considerate world, let alone, like experience of your own reality. And you likely have chosen and decided to embody those qualities as best as you can, learning the lessons as life presents them to you, in addition to taking advantage of the opportunities to practice behaving in alignment with those virtues and values when it is available to you and you kind of clock it in time, register it, discern it. What I've been getting and what's leading me into this channeled message today, let alone, the cards that we're going to pull with this Leo season, is I'm getting a lot of continuing to honor yourself as a main character and prioritize yourself and remembering how people treated you, both in like whatever were your last slash most recent interactions, in addition to how they treated you. And deeper than that, like what patterns were you discerning? What patterns were you clocking? Like what was like a pattern or repetitive sentiment that kind of like built over time in you and likely has inspired you to give that person and or circumstance, relationship, context less attention and less of your presence, let alone less of your focus, if any at all. Basically what I'm getting is like the image in the game, honestly, funnily enough. Now, I don't know if this happens exactly or not. I was thinking about this game the other day. So the game of Fable. If anybody remembers the Fable series, it was like on the Xbox console line and lineage. But if anybody remembers Fable, essentially that was a video game in which morality is a central theme and your choices really do matter and impact how your character like both evolves and develops, what abilities they get, in addition to how they present and are received in the world. And you had the option to actually be more evil and wicked intentionally, or to be more like compassionate and kind and virtuous, if you will, on the other hand. And what I'm getting is this vibe. I'm getting this whole metaphor of this is what was in the shower before I came here and recorded with this Fable idea, and the NPC idea is like, so let's say you are playing Fable. You're the main character. You're the real person, right? You're playing Fable. Now there are the NPCs or the computer, we'll say. Nowadays they say the AI, but I'm like, let's just stick with the computer because that sounds more fun. So the computer generated characters, like the ones in the game, let's just say it's a shopkeeper. There is this shopkeeper, and let's say with your character, hypothetically, one day you had beef with the shopkeeper in the game and you decided to, like, hit them with your weapon, beat them up, knock them out, something like that. And let's just say, you got away, and or you paid the bounty, you paid the fine, you served your time, however you decided to handle it or dodge it or not. You come back around, come around in the town, and you're walking around trying to do your shopping, and then you go up to the shopkeeper, trying to act like brand new, thinking it's a video game, a computer, thinking nothing has happened. And then meanwhile, that shopkeeper clocks you and calls you out and be like, nope, no business for you, or sorry, your money is no good here. Like, I'm not effing with you. You knocked me out. You hurt and harmed me for no reason. Like, you're violent trash. Like, no. No, you don't take that when person they sleep with doesn't. But what I'm getting is this sense of it's like showing me like where the choices that other people have made and the way in which they treated you matters and has informed how honestly how you deserve, and I don't like to use should often, so I'm going to use deserve. However, I almost said should, but essentially how you deserve to treat them. Like, take that stuff into account. No, I'm not saying you have to be rude, you have to be rah-rah, you have to call people names or whatever, anything like that. Like, maintain your peace, pick and choose your battles. Yet at the same token, you don't need to be giving people the same access, let alone kindness, that you may have extended to them in the past after they treated you very negatively and or harmfully. It's this, in addition to also, like, let's just take it a step further with that analogy where it's like that person was treating the shopkeeper as a non-player character, basically thinking, oh, they're just a computer, they're short-minded, they're quick to forget, so as long as I, like, let the heat die down and then I come back around in a certain amount of time, they're just gonna, like, magically reset and be all cool with me, at least neutral, if not love me again. You know what I'm saying? It's like some BS mentality like that. And then it's like when that main character, that live character, your character, hypothetically, comes back up to this person, and then you realize, like, they remember, they clock it, you recognize, like, two things. Either A, the computer and the AI is getting much smarter and learning behaviors and clocking patterns, or you recognize that that character actually is a live main character who just happened to pick a specialization in being a shopkeeper in the game. Like, that was the gig that they wanted to do, at least during the shopkeeping hours and or days, whatever. So one of those things where it's like, basically, if people thought you were like the computer and the AI, like, they're realizing, like, you are much smarter and you are better at pattern recognition and you've really clocked their patterns of behavior and you're really holding them to task with it and you're letting them know you're not the one. But I really think further than that, it's like you're actually really showcasing them that you are the live player as the shopkeeper. You are the one who's not forgetting. You're holding people accountable, and you're not letting people get, like, special privileges, like special access, special discounts, special prioritization, or focus in your life. Like, you are it's like similar to, like, the shopkeeper. It's like, I wish you the best of luck in life. I'm not saying I don't want you to eat. I'm not saying I don't want you to get, your blacksmithing done. I'm not saying I don't want you to get your artisan needs met. However, I am not the one to be fulfilling those orders. I am not going to be the one fulfilling those requests. Certainly not if you're just trying to come around, acting brand new, as if nothing didn't happen, as if we didn't have that beef. So really, in that metaphor, I know when I was talking about the live character, I was saying it was, like, really you, but we can think about actually as the external party. Now that I'm really, like, more in it with y'all, and I feel like with this collective that's resonating, it's like we were the people who are more like the shopkeeper. We were the people more like the shopkeeper. We were trying to do our best to work on maybe, like, a foundational business, a skill, offering a certain talent, product, or service out there in the world, or some kind of our capacity. space holding, right? Like it doesn't only have to be like products and services, but either way, you were offering something baseline attention and energy, let alone how the attention and energy was utilized and manifested more specifically. And people like got quite comfortable with you, us, whatever, this collective, quite comfortable. And then there was, and I'm feeling the big thing about this is patterns, right? Because this isn't about a one time or one off thing where we're, just giving people grace and understanding, like, hey, we have off days, we lose our ish, we feel off, we get sick, we get tired, we get weary, we can be in actual physical chronic pain, we can be in chronic internal pain, emotional pain, mental health, all that jazz. Like this collective, I feel like y'all have gone through it as well. And because you have gone through it, you do your best, like I was saying in the beginning, to have compassion, consideration, and some patience and grace for others also going through it. Like you understand not everybody's going to be their best selves every single day of the year in every single situation, let alone when they're feeling triggered. Like you really do give like at least space, grace, and chances. What this example is really talking about is like clocking a pattern of behavior, an ongoing like energy, vibe, behavior set, whatever it may be, where it's like over time, like different things, like maybe some small things, some medium things, let alone the big things. It all was building and taking account. And it wasn't like you were sitting here trying to build a case against any of these people either. It was more so with this collective, what I'm getting is like, it became stuff that became very unignorable, undeniable, in addition to your own guides and guidance were high-key holding you to task and holding you accountable and be like, so are you going to honor your own boundaries or not? Like, are you going to just keep putting up with this because you love and or like this person or not? Like where is the change behavior on your end to honor your own self? Because clearly this person is who they are who they are, they behave how they behave, they be who they be. And it's not to give them grace. Maybe they're in an extended, tough season in their life. However, you are not here to be someone's doormat, punching bag, to be the emotional constant, to be the safe NPC where they can lash out and you may have a small reaction, small to medium reaction in the moment, but then they come around in a short time frame and just acting brand new. It's like, no, you're not doing that. Especially if you've already given chances where you've given grace, you know what I'm saying? It's not that you're wishing any negativity or ill will on anybody, because it's like you don't want them behaving that way, so we're not sitting here putting out situations that would only like increase the likelihood of that behavior. It's literally the opposite. And so what I'm getting, thank you, Spirit, like with this big opening channel is like, and we're coming right towards the end of retrograde at time of recording, Mercury retrograde specifically. So communication themes are still very big and relevant right now, and communication. Yes, we talk about in the self, but communications in relationship. So relationship with the self, relationship with spirit, let alone in relationship with external parties, okay? And they say, retrograde periods have a shadow period afterwards. Like there's a pre and a post. So you can think about it where it's like the main energy has ended, but there's like, with that closing out, there's like conclusion work, there's integration work, there's integration and review of what just happened to take into account, to digest and process, and help us move forward with that increased wisdom, data, knowledge, tools, growth, expansion, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Thank you, Spirit. So what I'm feeling is like there's something about Spirit is, and I've been getting this too, I'm going to be honest with y'all, this season, especially this Mercury retrograde, it started off quite difficult and challenging. And thank you, that brings me to the other part of the channel. It's like they wanted me to share with anybody else. I know a lot of times we use the terminology right now of like crash out, like that's one of the phrases right now. So for anybody who maybe resonates with having crashed out or crashing out recently at time of recording or in this season, however you want to define this season when this video finds you. However, I also want to add on to that, really, really want to talk about like actually being burnt out, like, and going through a crash out to recognize being burnt out and needing to go through the acceptance/re-acceptance process of acknowledging being burnt out/crashed out, so then you could really crash in to yourself, check into yourself, and honestly like focus and refocus on yourself, rebuilding yourself, reestablishing homeostasis, reestablishing stability and security like from within, reigniting and recentering yourself, in your spirit, in your faith, in your beliefs, in your virtues, in your integrity. Like really having to go very inner and consequentially, yeah, consequentially or consequently, both, consequently and consequentially. Um, a lot of your external relationships and or contacts may have, I may even use the word suffered, may have been heavily impacted. um, I'm really feeling with this collective, it's that communication, I'm not saying it wasn't happening at all, but it was very much like on the as necessary vibe, taking more time with responding, doing your best not to put yourself in spaces and places of just reacting or, just giving like an immediate reaction, like really wanting to take your time to be more deliberate in reviewing because you were feeling like the heaviness of this energies. It's like you were aware of the wonkiness because when those confirmation wonky moments happen, however light, let alone heavyweight, you clocked it, and like as you were getting that discernment and recognizing this stuff was going on, you're like, ooh, let me be careful with my own energy because I don't want to do something that I'm going to regret or cause me to need to go through a remorse process. I also don't want to invite other people's BS into my life or entertain their energy or have them be an energetic vampire dumping their work on me like I was channeling, for Cancer season as the warning about that. So it's like a lot of this going inward and doing what it takes to really like honor yourself as that main character energy. Because also it's like with that shopkeeper analogy, it's on that shopkeeper to like there's that situation, that moment where it's like, are you honoring the boundaries? Are you going to not allow that person to act brand new and just pretend that nothing happened? Are you going to call that in? Are you going to address that? And, for some of y'all now, to keep the metaphor simple, it's like the shopkeeper wasn't transacting. With some of y'all, you may end up with some people, you may end up having some form of transacting or continuing to communicate or some ongoing interpersonal dynamics, yet you are having the conversation and you are addressing things directly with refreshed and renewed, restated boundaries, terms and conditions, so that people know, like, if they even want your attention, they want your energy, they want your business, they want your connection, they need to like meet this criteria, they need to honor these standards, they need to be in alignment with this code of ethics and or behavior that you've set for yourself. If not, you are fine for them to continue to be released to the wild and vice versa. So yay, I'm loving this. I'm getting this energy and vibe. Sorry, I'm like feeling, no, not sorry. I'm very excited because I'm feeling this energy and vibe building up in this excitement. Okay, and now they're bringing me to the other other part of the channeled message, where Spirit is saying also in this Leo season with this Leo energy, this main character energy. Leo energy, a lot of times people also talk about like the image part of it, the vanity part of it, in particular the presence slash stage presence slash presentation, like being in front of a room, being on a stage, being on at the podium or the platform, the microphone, the desk, you know what I'm saying, the typewriter, whatever it may be, some form of putting the voice, the beauty, the art, the artistry, like whatever is the creative initiative vibe that you're here to put out. Like basically, thank you, Spirit, give me the words. Debut. Like there is some like debut and launch are some key words slash vibes and concepts for this Leo season as well. Like there is, for a lot of y'all that are really resonating with this message and who are going to find the most benefit from it, is like you're likely already have been working on it, and or you're going to very much so like be on top of it from this point forward. Some form of project, passion, and or creation in which there are things that you can debut, launch, showcase, relaunch, putting stuff out there into the world like more vividly, more bigger, more bigly, if you will. Like it's even with some of y'all, I'm getting like honestly with more advertising, announcements, and or publicity and marketing, things of that nature. It's like where you are putting yourself, your services, your products, your art, your voice, your opinions, your thought forms, your analyses, some form of creation, putting that out there with I'm now displaying this, I'm showcasing this, I'm launching this, I'm relaunching this project, this passion, this business, this initiative, whatever it may be. It's like you've already been working on it, doing this consistency and commitment like I've been channeling throughout this year. Yet this now in this Leo season, we are making things more visible, we're making things more audible, we're making things more tangible, we're allowing things in ourselves to be more reachable. Honoring boundaries, having security, having privacy policies, having terms and conditions, all of that. Yet at the end of the day, it's like we have the policies, we have the boundaries, we have the security, and we're also launching the service. We're launching the brand, we're launching the site, we're launching the product, we're launching the art, we're launching the beauty, we're walking on the runway, we're acting in the gig, we're creating the portfolio, we're updating the resume, we're polishing out polishing out the digital presence and profiles and platforms and whoop-de-woo. Whatever it may be, a combination of that in your own life. For some of y'all, there may be multiple things, or a lot of these things have already been involving multiple steps, and now you're like synthesizing things, and you're locking this stuff in, because this launch is also, not only is it more significant for you essentially taking up more of the divine and aligned space that your soul has led you to in this moment, in this now, in this season to do point blank period, it's also like you fully launching this, stepping into this, is a solidification of something that is like, I've been building on that pillars analogy for the last several weeks. So it's like the solidification of one of those key foundational pillars that is meant to last for quite a long season in your life. I don't, like, for some of you, yeah, it may be for the rest of your lifetime. For other, but in general, not but. And with that being said, though, I think the general, because it's a general collective big group, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to say a very long season in your life. Like, basically, I'm getting, this is something like, yes, it will continue to evolve, change, and tweak as your resources, as your knowledge, as your wisdom, as your information, as your own technology and tools advance and improve. Like, absolutely. I'm not saying it's locked in this limited form. What I am getting, though, is like this key foundational pillar. So if you want to just use a business to keep it simple, it's like businesses, ideally, like, grow and learn and adapt and innovate over time. You know what I'm saying? So that they have longevity. Not every business lasts forever, yet many seek to have longevity, and longevity often requires evolution and innovation. And so you are securing like a key pillar business, something like that, while holding space for the evolution or growth over time. But what I'm getting, and with that being said, I'm getting like this is a pillar that is going to last for a long time and go more through evolutions, transformations, and changes, as opposed to a soon come destruction or total ending. Okay, so yay, like, exciting to look forward to that. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying there won't be some destructions along the way or within that, right? Like, there may be certain things, certain branches, certain leaves, certain seeds, whatever it may be, that you're like, gotta chop that out, gotta edit that, or whatever, refinement like that may happen. But overall, that pillar is growing and it's solid. Okay, so continue honoring that. And that's another reason why Spirit is like, don't be allowing people to act brand new around you, and vice versa, because you have big things that you need to be focusing on, pillars and foundational values, and you need to be honoring your value. You need to continue honoring your worth. And there's something about some of these past characters too, where maybe they had access to you where you didn't value your time, your energy, your skill, your perspective, whatever it may be. Like, then it's not what it is now. And that's not to say either point in time is wrong. We are acknowledging, though, you have grown, you have leveled up, you have loved yourself more, you have continued developing your skills, your talent, your perspective, whatever it may be. So you do deserve to not market yourself or share yourself at a previous rate, at a previous layer and level. Like, you deserve to command your worth, whatever the energy exchange may be or look like. Okay, Spirit, we're going to take a sip of water and we're going to get some cards. So now let's get some energy oracle cards to start off for this Leo season vibe, this channeled message. And comment down below. Let me know if any of this already is resonating with y'all. As always, this is a general collective message. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And feel free to use the links and comment, or, well, yes, also comment, but let alone contact me down below if you want to book a personal reading, because I am available for those, as well as hop on TikTok live with me. Make sure you follow me on TikTok, same profile, like handle as here, because I do like live readings for the collective there as well, so you might be able to get like a one-card oracle pull if you'd like, or you can get an on-air tarot reading if you like too. As always, no pressure yet. I want to give people invitations, let alone remind y'all, breathe, practice discernment as you listen to these messages, because they are general collective. And I am blessed to be connecting with all different kinds of people across the world, let alone time, space, and dimensions. So with all this being shared and said, the love of the collective, holiest spirit, may we receive Leo season, greater Leo season insights messages. Let's use the cards to both expand upon, yes, confirm the message yet. I'm already confident in it. So Spirit, let's get things that help us more so allow this to be more pragmatic and practical, implementable, actionable steps, let alone healthier, more beneficial thought forms, patterns, and considerations for this collective and this now. Essentially, give us what will make this channeled message, let alone overall reading, the most valuable and implementable for the collective. Please and thank you, holiest spirit, team, and tribe. Angel of love coming through right out the gate. Yes. And I'm going to get another one, yet what I'm getting with this one right away is, you know, own your desires, own what you want. So if you've been wanting some kind of, for those of you who are wanting like love to be experienced interpersonally, whether that be more in greater friendships, like loving partnerships and collaborations, like people you can trust, let alone enjoy with what maybe you're working on, focusing, giving a lot of your labor, energy, and capacity, as well as maybe lovers, you know, things of that nature as well. If you want more of an intimate partnership, dynamics, connections, whatever it may be. Own that desire. What I'm getting really what I really feel though is like, honestly, this angel of love is helping you continue to focus on your heart space, what lights you up. Your heart space, your soul. Even though I didn't see it literally, I got a vision just a second, excuse me, of a rainbow, a flash of a rainbow, like I guess more internally. So remember, rainbows often represent the promises of God, source being kept, of miracles and blessings coming through, the deliverance your soul wants, needs at this time coming through. So take what resonates with that, leave what doesn't. However, essentially, rainbows, the ability for wishes to come true, and wishes coming true really is like, essentially at its best, is deep heart and soul fulfillment and satisfaction, let alone achievement and success. So there's something about the angel of love with your own focus and consent as well, because you got to do your share as well. It's basically having you really focus on what lights your soul up, what you enjoy, because I'm really called to the glowing yellow aura around this, in this card, in this now, which is really highlighting the joy and like this joyful expression of your soul. Is like really prioritizing what lights you up, what honors your heart, what honors your soul, and being very focused on this. Like, honestly, I feel like this is in the healthiest way. I feel like this is being very self-centered and beyond that, very soul-centered. And because you're being very soul-centered, ooh, not censored, block, banish, delete that, cancel, clear, delete. Being very soul-centered in this now, in this season. And with this soul-centered, I mean legit doing what it takes to better listen to, understand, let alone take actions in alignment with what will actually make your soul happier, which will overall allow to you feeling happier / feeling good, feeling healthier, things of that nature. And as a consequence of being soul-centered, you have also been self-centered across the various layers and levels maybe of your being. And in certain contexts or relationships, maybe some people are feeling some type of way about that. You may have been getting messages from people who are like wanting your attention, missing you, whatever. And it's not that you don't have love for them. It's not that you don't miss them either. However, a lot of y'all who are really resonating with this message, you've either been taking more time to respond, or you've been feeling very much driven more and more to taking the time to respond because you want to stay focused on yourself, protecting your energy, protecting your heart space, and not really getting caught up in other people's like energy, not getting caught up in other people's emotional labors, not having to be someone else's like honestly cheerleader right now when you are feeling like, quite honestly, you need to be your own best cheerleader and support system in this now. That doesn't mean you're not supportive. Certainly doesn't mean you're a hater. Doesn't mean you aren't giving, capacity from the overflow where and when you can. Yet with this collective, I think a lot of it has been acknowledging like we don't have that overflow capacity a lot for others right now. It is limited. In this season, we are being required to be more soul-centered and focus on refilling our cups and getting it back to a more sustainable overflow as opposed to like this start, stop, binge, purge approach with it all. May we have another energy oracle card, please, and thank you, Holy Spirit. I don't feel like this needs to be reversed. Magician in the mirror. Now, when I feel like something doesn't have to be reversed or isn't meant to yet, I'm like taking a moment to question it. Oftentimes, because that's something, I'm going to let it be horizontal. That's why I put horizontal cards. And this is what I like to do. I'm not saying I'm the only one who does this. This is just how I like to interpret this energies. For me, when I get something like this, I call it a choice point. I call it a decision-making point. I call it like the reminder of choosing your own adventure. And it makes very sense with the Magician in the Mirror, like one of the key alchemist, key manifester cards. Essentially what I'm getting is like, with this soul-centered, heart-centered channeled message, angel of love message that we've gotten thus far. With the Magician in the Mirror, it's like you have the power to really alchemize, call into form what you want. And I'm feeling Spirit is almost saying it's a choice point as to where you're going to direct your focus. Because where focus or attention goes, energy flows. And you can go in a lot of different directions. You can go through a lot of different portals, a lot of different doorways, let alone choosing to focus in a mirror versus a window, whatever it may be. Honestly, I'm feeling it's this vibe where you can really choose to continue focusing on what like lights you up and going further in what your soul is like ascending with. Or you can kind of maybe choose a lower and slower growth. Like the way I'm looking at it is like between the fire and the ice. And I don't feel like either choice point is wrong. It's not like a right or wrong. It's more so about what energy are you going to focus on and like what pathway you're going to choose and which one may bring you further into your rebirth and rise. And yet what I'm getting may require like longer like self-focus and soul centering and self-centering. Or will you maybe go like that cooler route with the ice? And I'm getting the sense of maybe entertaining some more people, being like more or less a little bit like not in a negative way, but honestly being a little bit more delayed, possibly a little bit more distracted, because we're playing it cool and we're connecting with others and we're kind of keeping certain things on ice. Like I feel like one path involves a little bit more like room for delays, distractions, people pleasing. And I'm not saying there's no like social fulfillment there. Like there's things that are alluring and cool about it. Absolutely. Or it's like I'm getting this fiery approach, which is feeling, honestly, in a like you can make of it what you will, but a bit more selfish, self-focused, self-directed, doing what lights you up, prioritizing the passion, prioritizing the flame, possibly risking a bit of tunnel vision on that other extreme. So yeah, and these are polarities like fire and ice. So it's also this vibe of like, there's these different polarities and extremes, and it's like, are you going to be the magician? Are you going to be the alchemist who fuses these polarities, who works with these elements and meet somewhere in whatever would be your own healthy middle for a given moment? It's like, are you going to harmonize and alchemize these elements and use them in ways, take the best qualities of all of them while calibrating, harmonizing, maybe meeting somewhere in the middle or playing with the pendulum of that spectrum so that you're not just chilling in one extreme for at any point in time, let alone too long. Like, you're not completely freezing and slowing down, being distracted and iced out, nor are you spending too much time being too self-focused and in the fire and flame of your own passion, where maybe you're risking like burning bridges, burning connections, or burning others, in that self-focus in ways that may not serve, or that you don't want to or don't intend to. So yay, thank you, Spirit. See, this is why we took our time with this card and went with the choice point in the horizontal. Because it's like we can go in like this extreme or that extreme direction, yet ultimately Spirit wants us playing, or at least is inviting and highlighting more of a middle, alchemical, harmonized path. And notice I'm not specifically saying like balance or trying to get you to a static 50-50 way of being. This is a dynamic process. This is a dynamic dance. This is something that is inviting you to be very clear, honest, and real, and not have a titty attack about the fact that like each day is going to look different. Some weeks are going to look different. Even some of these months are going to be looking different as you're alchemizing these elements and stepping more into yourself. You're in a very transformative season and cycle in your life, let alone this year in general. And I'm being reminded in the second time, but first time I'm saying it out loud, thank you for reminding me, Spirit, in this reading, of the fire horse year in regards to the Chinese astrology that they opened with in like February 2026. So I'm not expert in that. However, there were a lot of videos and a lot of content that came out around that time, which was exciting to like share as well as tap into. And so, a lot of people talked about like it's going to be a lot of fire energy. So a lot of transformation, a lot of action. However, that doesn't mean burning out, like, or allowing yourself to be burning out. And when it does happen though, having grace and compassion and surrendering to it so that you can recuperate at a pace that serves you. Because the Phoenix does burn out. The Phoenix does start again. And I was getting Phoenix energy when I was looking at this fire. So some of this Phoenix vibe may really also resonate with this collective. All right, let's get one more of these cards. One or two, and then I feel one or two of these. I'm feeling some tarot, and then we'll seal it in with an oracle. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, I have attachment. What else? And woman holding a coin. Bottom of the deck is community. Okay, because like when I got attachment after that whole magician in the mirror, I was still thinking of the choice, the decision point, and I felt like attachment, Spirit was like, that's one option. That's an option. Like, that's one thing that could be happening, right? Like I was narrating. And then the other one is like the other option where you're focusing on yourself and particularly focusing on your bag and your craft. So throughout this reading, we had a lot of like the entrepreneurial, like career, business, scholarship vibes. Don't limit it to that. However, if that was really calling out to you in particular, this is an affirmation confirmation with that. I'm feeling like basically what Spirit is saying is like, there's like these choice moments where it's like, are you going to stay attached to like old identities, old masks, old version of yourself, old environments, like possibly some people pleasing, trying to like force the fit and act like you are that old version of yourself for others, especially with these people trying to come around, letting them be attached and or linked with you or trying to link with you, trying to link up with you, yet in like that old, like clearly outdated, like obsolete, there's no more color, there's no more vividness, like life and lifestyle way of being. It's not saying that you can't have any connections or whatever from the past, but it's like those connections from the past are not meant to, nor are they permitted to, unless you allow it and you choose it, to bring you to the past, to make you go backwards. Okay, this is about everyone going forward / allowing each other to meet each other going forward and honoring each other with that dynamic and that progression, or just choosing to let it go or to not engage. And so I feel like with this collective, with the woman holding a coin, this is about you choosing rather than staying attached to someone else's pillar, someone else's foundation, an old mask, something that's obsolete, something that you really can't maintain, or you can't fake the funk, or certainly not for long. It's not who you are truly at your core. It's like focusing more on your bag, your passion, honoring your intuition, honoring the empire you are building. I'm getting like Empress and Queen of Pentacles vibes here as well. From the tarot. Like, I'm feeling with this collective, for the most part, I feel as though you have decided that you're really focusing on yourself and you're being mindful with your coins and your own bag, your own resources, your own itinerary, your own schedule. And I feel like even with her phrase, like you're doing your best to kind of like be discerning and kind of like clock everything twice, if not thrice. With the bottom of the deck being community, Honestly, I was getting mixed messages with this card. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't, because it's general collective. On the one hand, I do feel like this is that reminder, to be careful with extremes and not get too focused in and on yourself, that you're letting like all of your relationships in your community like suffer. It's like it isn't the healthiest or the best to like isolate or go ghost, especially hard body, for too long, and not respond to anyone or give them a word or update when it is somebody that does genuinely and healthily love and care about you, and vice versa, and that you would benefit from having that healthy friendship or that healthy connection, whatever it may be, in form, like honoring that and responding to that is worthwhile. So for some of y'all, this is an invitation, encouragement to respond to those like people you feel guided to in your soul, to not ignore all of the messages and feel like you need to hide yourself out from the world and cut yourself off completely, because that's kind of like a control mechanism from like the oppositional forces that isn't really fair. Now, with that being said, though, I am feeling though absolutely like focusing on discernment and being careful about distractions, delays, eavesdroppers, like gossipers, messy people, um, especially the people that you have moved on from. Like I was channeling throughout this message, that you really more or less have moved forward, that are trying to come around back again. People trying to be up in your mix. People trying to like get your information, trying to get your tea. On the one hand, I don't want you to feel afraid to have things that are public. Like I said, this Leo season especially, you are meant to debut, release, launch, and share and showcase something, which means it is going to, at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to it. It's going to generate opinions, let alone some people might have some commentary. We don't need to care about it. Yet it can trigger it. What I'm feeling is resist, and honestly do your best to not get distracted and slow down by that crap, by the haters, by the whatever the commentary can be. It's just really not worth it, because some people at the end of the day, they're looking and they're watching because that's all they really do. Like a lot of these people, like all they do is watch and follow and more or less compare themselves to others in like unhealthy ways, like in ways that require inferiority and superiority versus like inspiration and appreciation. Like there are some people who view difference and take it competitively versus those who honor distinction and difference and view it as like examples of the diversity and plurality of the universe, and like different people living out different possibilities, let alone potentialities in any given moment. Some people allow themselves to get into that compare and despair game that then leads into hateration, envy, jealousy, wickedness, at more extremes, whatever it may be. And some people are just monitoring spirits and energies and entities where they just really like to be gossips and in the mix. They love to be in the know because they feel relevant and important when they know a whole lot about other people, rather than investing a lot of that energy into knowing themselves the best, let alone maybe some of the loved ones and the ones that God, Goddess, Source are prioritizing them to know better. It's like some people take a lot of power in positioning themselves as the gatekeeper for a given community, for a given society, the guardian of a given community or society or city, especially if they're self-appointed. And I'm not saying we don't need or deserve guardians and gatekeepers. However, there are times, places, and spaces where we know ego and pride and control can be quite addictive. And a lot of people take that stuff extremely and quite seriously. And they will, like, honestly misuse and abuse, and like there are times in which something will be triggered in them and they will feel the need to like either step on or crush or put someone else in their place or check somebody in, especially in a public setting, in a way that actually is like not loving, not respectful, not neighborly, not communal, and then they'll come up with some kind of BS excuse to justify why they were not only triggered that way, but why they talked to you out the side of their neck, why they talked to you sideways, why they came off rude, abrupt, or disrespectful, and or how they're going to try to validate or justify, rationalize that they weren't rude or whatever, and that you're just being sensitive, whatever it may be. It's like basically Spirit is just giving me this example of like, also for some of y'all, I think you're really like clocking it and being like, which communities do you want to be a part of to what extent and how deeply do you want to invest your time, energy, presence, and resources? It doesn't mean you don't appreciate all of the experiences and how much that community or that space has contributed to you in your life up until this point. Quite the opposite. Like the gratitude and appreciation is real and there and authentic. Yet it's more so this acknowledgement after being with certain people, certain characters, certain community members, whatever it may be, and clocking the current vibe, let alone your own personal current vibe, the patterns of the community, let alone the patterns in your own life, and acknowledging where spirit is guiding you to go. I feel like for some, you're also like clocking, like divesting from certain relationships and communities more, slash having a more strategic and tailored investment strategy of energy and focus with community and relationships. Like either way, you've switched up. There has been a switch up. And some people are going to say, oh, you're switching up and you're acting brand new in a negative way. And the thing is, you are acting brand new because you are a new version of you. Yet you are not acting brand new in a way that's disrespectful or rude. You're acting brand new in a way that is not allowing people to just have a version of you that is no longer resonant, that it no longer exists, that you choose no longer to exist as and uphold. Okay? And so people might want to be talking about it, or people might be speculating on that. People might have comments. However, Spirit is acknowledging while that may be going on, once again, now that you're aware of it, you can choose. Are you going to allow that to really distract you? Or going to allow that to really like control you? Or are you going to be aware of it and use that for discernment when it comes to who you communicate with, what you communicate about, what questions you have for them, what questions you of theirs you answer? You know what I'm saying? Like, because for some of this, it's going to really be strengthening your relationships and communal bonds. And then in some other contexts, it's going to be really checking them, putting them in their rightful place, and allowing them to either be abandoned outright or significantly decreased or let go of. And this isn't with ill will. This isn't with malice. This isn't with intent or anything like that. It's more so just recognizing like, yeah, I'm not really feeling like we're vibing and we're that compatible in this season and cycle. And I don't want to force the fit. And it's like, honestly, I got to focus on other things, like my health, my wealth, my wellness, my business, my family, my loved ones, my friends. Even if you're in a new space or you're possibly splitting your time between spaces, you're now trying to restabilize your life if you've relocated. Like things have changed. So it's like, even if you were trying to maintain the same, it's just not feasible because so much in and around you has radically changed and shifted that you deserve to acknowledge and lean into and embrace that radical shift versus radical shift, let alone radical shift. Rather than trying to stay attached and pretending this old version of self. Like, it's just not real. All right, let's get some tarot. Let's bring this more down to earth and like bring this towards the close. Please and thank you, Holy Spirit. But yeah, it's like really with this community card, I'm feeling like mixed energies, and I'm just feeling like honestly, like, because it's making me think of like, even though I know these aren't mermaids or whatever, it's making me think of like sirens, like mermaid sirens. And this idea, basically, it's like I'm getting like, not that I'm limiting it to magic, but like magic, glamour charms, like siren magic, siren charms. Like basically having people fall under their spell using their charm, their glamour, looks, beauty, certain kind of personality or presentation, flamboyance, whatever it may be. Like, a lot of y'all are just not falling for it. A lot of y'all see through the veneers. A lot of y'all know how the sausage is made. A lot of y'all saw underneath the hood. A lot of y'all saw the back kitchen, whatever it may be. And while you're not judging those things, you are taking it into account and you recognize like, I don't need to be like messing and mixing with these people. And also, I don't really need to give an F about like these people's opinions and their judgments when I know that they are going through ish, that they've gone through ish, and like, them just trying to fake the funk for a crowd or a camera. Like, yes, I believe many of us who have like public facing personas, profiles, or whatever, I believe many do their best to present their best self that they can in the moment. Maybe not, I mean, there are those who do, but I think a lot of people I'll speak for myself. I don't put all of like, especially when I'm going through it, I don't put every detail of my hardship or my trauma out there for various reasons. And a big part of it is because it's not what I feel called to do with like my public platforms. I believe in sharing what I go through for the purpose of like giving examples and genuinely empathizing and being relatable and showcasing like, hey, I am a work in progress too. Like, I'm not just this computer being that just dropped down here with all this wisdom and knowledge that didn't come from experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. Um, mm-mm-mm. Not pretending to be omniscient or omnipresent or anything like that. Yet, at the same token, it's like there's boundaries. Like, I feel like there's ways in which, like, I don't want to sound rude, but like honestly, being like classy and considerate and careful with like how we share, how we deliver messages, how we present ourselves online. Always being authentic and real. And I don't believe authentic and real is incompatible with being considerate and intentional and deliberate. You know, and it's like it builds off of that concept of time and place, time and space, time and place. And I feel like a lot of y'all are just like not wanting to be around messy characters and not wanting to be around people who are really vain in unhealthy ways and who would just treat you like an NPC, treat you like an accessory, treat you like a person who is only designed to make their life better and or make them happy in their experience of the simulation, of reality, of the matrix. And that anytime they want to come around you, you should just be so overjoyed and excited to hear from them, excited to receive contact from them, that you just are supposed to just forget the way in which they didn't show up for you in like the last and or recent season, the way in which they abandoned you, the way in which they dropped the ball, the way in which they strung you along, the way in which they didn't contribute to your rebound, recovery, and wellness. And not that you felt entitled to any of these people, and it's not that they owed you anything. I'm talking about for people that there was a possibility for some form of exchange, support. There was an ask and an offer of some shape or form. At the very least, these are people who were well aware of your compromised capacity and or resources. And so for them to even come around later and not have a check-in vibe, like there's no checking in. It's like basically what I'm getting is like people knew where you're at / where you at recently, particularly with like whatever could have been a bigger adversity, challenge, injury, shortfall, shortcoming, hardship, thank you, Spirit, hardship in some way, shape, or form. And it's like, whenever they come around, it's like, even if they're aware of it, it's like just the, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Like, you're strong, you'll get through it. Or, you know, the generic, like, let me know if you need anything, but you already let them know more or less what you need or what would be helpful. And I'm talking about these are people, like I said, they have image, they have reputations, they have clout, they have resources. I'm not saying we are here or we should be, you know, pocket watching, spending other people's money or anything like that. No. However, what I'm saying is like, these are people with like reputations, contacts, networks, platforms where in some way, shape, or form, a shout out, an uplift, a referral, and even an idea, a brainstorming session. Like basically there's some way in which this person could have helped you, especially since they've tried to posit themselves as a helpful person in your life in the past. Like what I'm getting is like this person was like, they put themselves or they said the words, you know, where they offered like, oh, you know, you can talk to me about anything. If you need anything, let me know. And they're saying, it's not saying that they promised to be able to fulfill every request. However, it's like they created a space in which a request could be made, or even if you didn't make direct requests, like you shared what you were going through and they acknowledged it and commented on it. And it's like, there could have been a space where basically what I'm getting is like, I don't feel like this collective, you're entitled. Like, this is not about entitlement. Yet at the same token, I feel as though this is talking about characters or people where it's like they could have done something, they could have done more, or at least they could have been more compassionate and just like check in with you, or made the care feel solid versus hollow. Like there's something about making the care feel solid and tangible versus just like hollow and fair weather, or just like the thing to say or the right thing to say to keep the veneer or the illusion of being friends or being like closer community members or what have you up, when in reality it's hollow, it's not real. And so Spirit is saying it's like, whatever it may be, those folks didn't make that support more like present and tangible when in some way, shape, or form they could have. And now that they're trying to come around now, it's like, what are you even here for? Like, are you just trying to get an update on my situation? Are you just trying to temperature check? Are you just monitoring me? Are you just clocking me and my progress? Because it's like, if you wanted to contribute, come to me with like an offer, an opportunity, if that's what you want to do. Like, if you want to care for me, or also like check in and keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. There's something of that nature. Spirit's telling me get the cards, and we're gonna wind this down with the tarot to seal this in. However, let me know and comment down below if this is your word or this is resonating with anyone down below, because I really feel as though Spirit has me doing a lot of this like purely channeled, and it feels completely in alignment with the message about honoring your worth and your boundaries, and just not leaving the door open for any and everybody, or just entertaining any and everybody simply because they want to when they want to. Not letting people have the same layer and level of access and entitlement to you as maybe they once did, as past version of yourself once allowed and or tolerated and permitted. So please and thank you, Spirit. Okay, thank you. Eight of Swords. I think we're getting out of that with this collective. I think it's like recognizing like we are actually not trapped, the illusion of being trapped. Yep, the Strength, 8-8. And the King of Swords, yes, literally breaking free. With the bottom of the deck is the Moon, facing the Truth, and around the corner, the Emperor. See, this is what this collective is doing. So I had an Empress archetype and now an Emperor. So this is balancing out for me. This is letting me know both with your feminine energy and your masculine energy. You're balancing like being, receptive, being passive, like to reflect, to intuit, to feel, to discern. I feel a lot with that Moon card as well. On top of the Eight of Pentacles, so 888, repeating 8, 88. 8 is huge for you. Abundance and affinity as well. Working on your craft, working on your artisanry. Like I was saying, like shopkeeper vibes, like you're doing what you do. And you really have been mastering your craft, collective. Like you really have been leveling up and putting in the work, the talents, and the hours to build yourself up and out in some way, shape, or form. Like you're doing the gig, you're doing it, and it's paying off. And that tunnel vision, that self-focus, like being more in the workshop, that studio, really has been paying off. However, make sure you do give yourself time outside the studio with loved ones. Because Spirit is like, also when you launch it, put yourself out there in the world. They don't want you to hit it like a ton of bricks where you're like, oh wow, I actually do want some social relationships beyond just this transacting. Now with the bottom of the deck with the Moon card, we just wrapped up Cancer season. And like we're in Leo season now, pretty much. Yet what I'm feeling is like this Moon we're integrating, paired with the Mercury retrograde, like integration period that we're having at the close of it. I'm feeling a lot of this integration, the integration of the truth and the discernment around the feelings, the emotions, and what's come up for you, like throughout Cancer season. And what is that asking you to integrate so that you move through Leo season like informed and honestly, strategically and wisely, authentically and honestly, yet not sleeping on anything, taking these intuitive nudges and hunches into account, let alone whatever truth really came up, whatever was brought out to the light, especially in the dark, like illuminated by the full moon. Things that people really tried to keep in the dark or in the night, being illuminated even in the dark and in the light. Like they can't play you, they can't play spirit, they can't play your spirit guides. There's something where it's like the wool is off your eyes. You remembered who you are. You reconnected with your truth, your emotions. I feel as though you took the blindfolds off / you shimmied out of this rope, or at the very least, you intuitively followed the guidance to know that there was a sword nearby, and you like took the ropes with your arms and you like, just what do you call it, like scratched up against it and like basically let the sword cut you free. And it's like you cut yourself free, you took off the blindfold, you summoned up your strength, you remembered who you are. Leo season, honoring your crown, honoring your leadership, understanding you have strong instincts and intuition, a highest and holiest self into a very holy and lovely lower self, more human embodied self, and putting it together so that you put the respect, coming back on your throne. King of Swords energy for me is like very strong, empowered, informed, like brilliant, wise, like decision maker. Like with this sword, I feel like it's saying what needs to be said, writing what needs to be written, deciding what needs to be decided, choosing what needs to be chosen. Like this is not saying that we need to be rushed, take the time to deliberate and consider, right? Like cross all the T's, dot all the I's, review everything in the fine print, absolutely with the King of Swords. And with that being said though, we're doing that to make decisions. We're we're cutting through the noise, we're cutting through the BS. It's like you broke free, you stepped back into your strength, your sovereignty, your royalty, your regality. You're sitting on your throne, you're making moves, you're making decisions, you're renegotiating agreements and contracts, you're renegotiating terms and conditions across relationships and circumstances to do what it takes to be living lighter and brighter, more free, more relaxed, in addition to having an awareness that feels good in your nervous system. Like I am feeling like this air element wanting to come through with breath and breath work, especially. It's like you're doing what it takes to be honestly feeling like I'm feeling a healthy nervous system. I'm feeling somebody who literally carves out and decides and takes time for rest, relaxation, connecting with spirit directly, time for joy, time for connection, partnership, community, time for the self, in addition to the productive and creative time, like getting things done, working on your task, working on your soul fulfillment, like your soul passion and expression coming more online, that business, that creation, that project, whatever it may be. And it's not that you're perfect every single day. What I'm feeling is, baseline is like you're making these power level moves, and that's why the Emperor follows afterwards. It's like stability or stabilizing influence coming into your life. I feel like you're the stability and stabilizing influence in your own life. I feel like this Emperor is the building off of the action and represents like you following up with the action that backs up the decisions and choices you've made. This is you showing up where it's like, okay, we made the decision and choice, but however, I've also combined all the elements, magic and alchemy, to continue manifesting and growing like the empire that I'm here to do so with. The project, the passion, the creation, the artistry, whatever is your thing that you're meant to be working on and putting out there, like you are leveling up big time, and you're going to be receiving coins. The woman holding a coin, it's like you're investing your resources, your time, your focus, your energy, your love, your money, your tools. And I'm really getting a sense of it's paying off and it's paying out. For some of you, you may be in the season stepping into greater collaborations, unions, partnerships. Take what resonates, see what doesn't. Like if you feel you need more support, honestly, it could be both. We're not even going to limit it. I'm feeling like some of y'all may be receiving specifically more masculine support and energies and influences coming into your life, period, in addition to your own. The same can be said for the feminine, and for a lot, I feel like it's going to be a mix of both. I feel like it's going to be you embodying the best of your own feminine and masculine energy with greater like consciousness. And I am also getting enjoyment, like really like essentially giving yourself your flowers and putting respect on your name and enjoying yourself. And from that place of confidence, self-knowing, self-embodiment, being soul-centered, you're manifesting like healthy, soul-aligned counterparts, soul family, soul tribe, people who can honor you in your fullness and like be a complementary complementary practice in your life. Okay, there we go, practicing relationships, as well as a complementary partner in some way, shape, or form of your life. So yay for that. Like yay for the fact that like we're also coming into alignment with like honestly more aligned community, more aligned soul family and soul tribe for this season, for this cycle. So congratulations, like I'm feeling successful energies and vibes and real growth. So yay. Okay, let's seal this in with a goddess oracle, please and thank you, Spirit. Let's seal this juicy reading in, because I feel like I need some food, I need a little rest. Please and thank you, Spirit. Come on, one clear card. Thank you. Ah, look at that as I yawn. Spirit says, easy does it. There is no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. I'm going to get one more. They're saying, however, Unach with this easy does it, and the dove of the Holy Spirit and the rainbow, encouraging chakra purification, balancing, cleansing, calibration. So you could do that on your own. There's plenty of free content here on YouTube, as well as working with a practitioner, whether myself or someone locally in your community, your soul tribe, your culture that you really resonate with. If you have those resources to invest in yourself, that'll really do wonders. Either way, Spirit, and I was getting this too, it's like, take care of yourself. honor your capacity. And this message is for me, and I'm not the only one because Spirit is sharing it here too. However, for us, like this is a very us moment. For those of us who have really been doing the work and calling in a life where it's like we really want to get paid to exist, we want a life and a lifestyle that honors our capacity. And if we are having a very low battery day, not to say that we won't show up for commitments or things that we have consented and assented to, having the ability and flexibility to reschedule things with greater ease, to have flexibility, to have grace and compassion in the schedule, and or even if we have something that we need to show up for on a given day, being able to flex before and after that to accommodate for our compromised capacity versus like risking burning out at all ends of the spectrum. This card is very much saying like, hey, yes, being consistent, building up and out this empire on your emperor and empress movement, yet remembering there is the time for the receptivity, the passivity, the recharge, the rejuvenation, in addition to the time for the aligned and inspired action, the aligned, inspired communication. Don't burn yourself out. Quite the opposite. Continue nurturing and nourishing yourself. And like I was channeling earlier, filling up your cup. Spirit is reminding me of this as well when I said like not every day is going to look the same. Not every day has the same amount of hours in doing things. So for example, yesterday I spent a lot of time working on a project on the computer and some things that I need to be doing right now that Spirit has been guiding me. And yet I also know spending all that time, especially a lot of time standing yesterday, like my back was feeling some type of way. So now I'm needing to be more mindful today. Like while I still want to be productive, creative, working on my projects, doing what I need to do for the business, I also am pacing myself and spacing things out to have literal breaks that honor my self-care and my capacity. And I've prayed for a life and lifestyle in which I can do that versus always having to power through, which is what I've done in years prior for many years, most of my life. So continuing to unlearn that. And that in and of itself is an abundance practice to like literally honor my capacity and take the time to rest and pace and space things out and live life this way versus like forcing myself to live like in dominant mainstream society where it's like go, 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 push, 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 force, force, force. So let's get one more, goddess. I feel like we want one more, please, and thank you, Spirit. At least one more jumper. Make it clear. Thank you, Spirit. I had a feeling there was going to be two. Yes, look at this. Mother Mary, expect a miracle. Have faith that your prayers have been heard and answered. Have faith that your prayers have been heard and are being answered. Mother Mary. So this is an affirmation confirmation of when I channeled earlier in the reading. Miracles and dreams coming true. Rainbows coming true. We had a rainbow on this card. Clock the rainbow colors. Reminding me of that. But now, however, or excuse me, not, but, and with Mother Mary here coming through, backing it up. Like, we are being very much so cared for. Please allow yourself to care for yourself and be cared for by the universe. Like I said, y'all, honor your energy, honor your capacity, honor if you need to take a nap, honor nurturing and nourishing yourself. Please, please, please give yourself the good nourishment so you continue growing up to be big and strong. You know what I'm saying? This is a lot of this is really taking great care of yourself and not burning out. Because also by doing that and living that way, like I was just saying, living that way is also living abundantly, like showing the universe you are abundant. You're not in survival mode. You're not active in scarcity. You're not forcing yourself to keep doing things and behave in a way that comes from fear of like loss and lack. You're not letting that dominate the script. You're not letting that control every action and forcing yourself to be productive every hour of every day, forcing the fit and powering through in a way that causes you to suffer that you really don't deserve. It's like as you lean into this care, honoring the capacity, using your powers with discernment, taking the time for it to be easy does it. That is allowing more and more miracles and blessings to reach you. It's creating the space for receptivity, and it's creating the space for your faith to be rewarded, let alone for your prayers to be answered and delivered. Look at this, Erakira with blossoming. Erakira with blossoming, you are just getting started. So have patience with yourself and the process and do not give up. I mean, y'all saw me shuffle this. Like, this is not fake. There's no frauds here. Like, you are seeing this loud, live, and in color. You saw me shuffle these cards out and notice how they're all backing each other up. Erakira with blossoming, you are just getting started. So have patience with yourself in the process and do not give up. So look at what we're getting, collective. Spirit is saying, like, be gentle with yourself. You're just blossoming. You're just blooming now. Like, easy does it. You don't need to do the most. Just because you are aware of some future version of yourself, a future successful version of yourself, where there may be where you see a greater volume or quality plus quantity in some way, shape, or form happening in your life. You do not need to rush to that envision point in your mind. Continue unfolding. It's like if the flower has, like, well, let's just believe, well, they really do, but like the spirit of the flower has an intended, like, they know they want to look like more like that in the future. However, they got to give them time for everything to literally come into place to blossom and then bloom. You're blossoming and blooming moments are coming sooner and sooner. Yet you don't need to rush. Honor yourself. And the cool thing is, like, Spirit saying is like you're blossoming, like this is unfolding. This is ing. This is in process. This is going on. Like, I'm feeling this is a very strong affirmation, confirmation. Like, yes, things are literally getting better actively right now. Like, the miracles are unfolding right now. The growth is happening right now. The success and fulfillment is happening right now. Yet if you continue trying to force the fit, make things happen, do too much, your nervous system and your conscious mind are not going to register that or clock that at best, or at worst. They're gonna clock that and choose not to accept it. So it's also like needing to take care of yourself and slow down, creating the space for the miracles so that you also witness like this growth and you feel it, that this growth is real, this growth is aligned, this growth is God, Goddess, source given. This growth and success and fulfillment is divinely guided and delivered. It's like also like almost like I'm getting like an insurance policy, a protective mechanism to not play yourself. You know what I'm saying? And play in your own face. Spirit is saying by taking it easy. Yes, being consistent, still working on these projects and passions, yet honoring the capacity and honoring different days and different weeks, and also holding space for aligned and healthy relationships, because Spirit does want you loving and trusting other people. They don't want you hyper isolated and too alone where you're like too afraid to connect, because you're also launching and debuting onto greater platforms, stages, mediums, and what have you. So there are going to be increased interactions, and Spirit wants you feeling not only super worthy and valuable in those interactions, they want you feeling confident and less like avoidant and less socially overwhelmed and socially anxious. This isn't to bypass anybody's challenges with those things. However, it's more so about doing what you can do to decrease the anxiety, to decrease the avoidance, to decrease the stress by knowing yourself more, knowing your habits that are healthy, your coping mechanisms that are healthy, implementing them in addition to continuing to practice socializing and connecting with others and working through it through active exposure and interaction. Okay? All right, Spirit, I feel complete with this. This was longer than I anticipated, a really juicy channeled message. So comment down below. Let me know what resonated with you. What parts were helpful, if not all of it. As well as make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you an ongoing member of the community. Please check me out on TikTok if you would like to experience me live and possibly get a reading on air as well. And all the contact information is down below if you want to get a personal reading. As always, General Collective, take what resonates, what doesn't. So with that being said, I am sending y'all so much love and gratitude and appreciation for being here with me today, for allowing me to channel with you. I'm Dil Divine, your friendly neighborhood queer muse, oracle, and soul guide, and I will be back very soon with more messages, so stay tuned.